Om Shanti. Welcome to the first section of Astronomical Mystery of World Cycle. Here, this is a scientific moving model by which I would like to explain you the scientific explanation of this symbol of swastika here. This symbol of swastika is equally important either in spirituality or scientifically. So here in our universe, three types of events are happening constantly. First one is the historical events, second one is the geographical events, and the third one is the astronomical events. A reason behind that is three specialities of our human corporeal world, the world of these five elements. And the first speciality is the light. The light is letting here is symbolizing sun. Second speciality is the sound. Because there is sound, that's why this world is audible. And the third speciality of this universe is the motion. Motion. Because there is motion, that's why this world is changeable. If there is no motion, no change. But we feel that this world is constantly changing because there is motion. One thing more, light is the responsible factor for geographical changes, because due to the light of sun the day and night happens, and due to the heat of sun weather changes. So thus light and heat of the sun is the responsible factor for geographical changes, and the sound is the responsible factor for historical changes, because our words creates the history, and the motion is the responsible factor for astronomical changes. So now this model is especially focused on motion. Here three types of motions are shown. There are three types of motions even for soul and even for the earth. So three types of motion for soul, it is shown in this illustration, and three types of motion for earth, it is shown in this moving model. So right hand side of this symbol of swastika, in the combination of golden age and silver age, so this cycle, this period is called positive cycle, because this direction is from left to right. It means everything happens in this duration, righteous direction. So that's why this is called positive cycle. And the same positive cycle is called heaven in spiritual language, because when nothing is happening wrong here, so there is no question of sorrow here. So this is the world of happiness. So in this duration our soul gets elevated stage, pure stage, and we call it Sato Pradhan Sthiti in Hindi and Sadgati. And the left hand side of this symbol, the combination of copper age and iron age, it is called negative cycle, and the same negative cycle is called hell. And since this is the world drama wheel, so the time will not stop here at the fag end of iron age. So since it's constant motion, after iron age again golden age will come. But this is a very great vast transformation. Iron age is the vicious and degraded world, whereas the golden age is the upgraded, pure world, world of happiness. So how this great change will be done? This great change will never be done by any other human soul, whether there may be any religious founder or any other souls, pure deity souls or any great souls. But this vast change can be done only by Supreme Soul, God Father. So he used to descend here, and through his corporeal medium of Brahma Baba, he depicts this knowledge and he shows the pathway to liberation. And we call it liberation, gati, mukti in Hindi. So liberation, fruition and degradation. And in Hindi we call it gati, sadgati and durgati. So these are the three types of motion for soul. And these three types of motion for soul depends upon the secrets of karma philosophy. So our action and its result, it is directly related to the world drama stage, that is the earth. So our earth also has three types of motion. So first type of motion of earth is rotating in its own axis, and it takes 24 hours for one rotation, and that is why day and night happens. And the second type of motion is, it is not rotating in single stable position, but simultaneously it is moving forward and getting one yearly cycle complete around the sun within 365 days. So these two types of motions are very well known, because these two types of motion comes under our limitation and observation. But apart from these two types of motions, again there is a third type of motion of earth, and this motion is very incognito, very subtle, very secret and beyond our limitation and observation. So the knowledge of this third type of motion only we can get from Supreme Soul, God Father. So to understand this third type of motion, we need to know clearly that when our earth is getting one yearly cycle complete around 365 days, so that yearly cycle will never be called as the complete cycle around the sun. That yearly cycle is only the partly cycle of the sun. Why? Because our sun is much bigger than our earth. It is about 109 to 10 times bigger than the earth size. So our sun is very huge, very big. And before this huge sun, our earth is a very tiny point before the sun. For an example, if you take a spherical ball, so this is a ball before you, and if you take a piece of chalk and if you draw one line maintaining the center line, so the line of circumference will be drawn around the ball. So by drawing one line of circumference, the whole spherical surface area of ball is not being painted by chalk. So only as thick the chalk is, only that one line is being drawn. Similarly, our sun is the very big ball of gases, and our earth is like that chalk piece. So in 1 year, our earth is completing only the circumference around the sun, one circumference. So by one yearly cycle, our earth is not completing the whole spherical surface area around the sun. So how this complete cycle of 360 degree, that complete cycle will happen? For that, this orbit, again it shifts very, very slowly, gradually it shifts, and this is the third type of motion of our earth. So again, where from I am standing from the side view, this orbit looks round. But when you look it from the front side, the same round orbit you will be able to see as one line. One line. It means the diameter of this orbit will be visible. For an example, when we eat meals, the plate looks round, and after finishing meal, when we wash it and keep it on the stand vertically, the same round plate from side view, it will be looked from the front side as one line only. Similarly, in the symbol of swastika, two big thick red lines are shown here, one vertical, other is horizontal. So why these two lines are given? These two lines are exactly the line of this orbit which you are able to see from the front side. So now since the motion is the law of universe, this line will never be stopped anywhere. It was vertical before and now it has become horizontal. But by its constant motion, this line again it will become vertical. But to become vertical from horizontal one, it takes 1250 years of too long time. It means our earth only covers 90 degrees surface area of sun within 1250 years. So naturally, to complete the 360 degrees surface area around the sun, that is the complete cycle, naturally it will take 5000 years. So this is the biggest cycle once in a 5000 years, and this cycle is called cycle of Kalpa. So three types of motion is clear now. So we can say this is the rotation, and this is the revolution, and this is the repetition. So these are the three types of motion. So apart from these two big lines in the symbol, again 4 short lines are also shown here. What does it represent? Actually these lines represents the indication of our north pole of our earth. According to this model, now this is the north pole and here this is the south pole, and I have shown here 2 north poles on both sides. Why? Because when this earth is reaching to the that end, still north pole becomes in this side. When earth is coming to this next end, still north pole is in this direction. It is understood south pole is here, but why I have shown north pole here? Because our north pole is very, very, very important. Our north pole is the head, top of the earth, and the south pole is the bottom leg of the earth. When you draw a map on a paper, or whether you draw a map of your house or of your country, so usually you keep north pole upside, isn't it? Why you keep north pole upside? Because our earth is a very big magnet, and the north pole is the positive charge and the south pole is the negative charge, and our earth moves from the north pole in the direction of clockwise. So that's why north pole is very important, and earth is usually observed from the side of north pole. So again, when the north pole, by moving clockwise, when it will enter in the topward direction here, so right from this point Iron Age will start. After 1250 years, when the same north pole will enter in this positive cycle, so right from this point Golden Age will start. And again after 1250 years, when the same north pole will enter in the downward direction. So right from this point, Silver Age will start. And again after 1250 years, when the same North Pole will enter in this negative cycle, so right from this point, Copper Age will start. But when North Pole will enter in this positive cycle, before that, a very great miracle happens. What are those miracles? This juncture period is called Confluence Age, and in this Confluence Age, our Supreme Soul, incorporeal God Father Shiva descends here, and through his corporeal medium, he makes our soul pure by this godly knowledge, is the Raj Yoga. Those souls who used to practice this meditation, those souls, level of purity of those souls increased gradually, and by vibration of purity of those mass souls, our physical changes of our earth starts happening, and those changes happens by three methods, three means. First one is the natural calamities, and the second one is the civil war. What is the terrorism? Terrorism is the civil war. And the third and final change will happen by nuclear war. It means when North Pole will enter in this positive cycle, before that, to have a complete change of this vicious old iron-aged world, here there must be nuclear war. Because without nuclear war, the holistic change is not possible. So within very short period, we are observing this present scenario, that how the situation is developing. So within very short period, when this nuclear war is going to happen, so during that period, our earth will face tremendous, huge changes, many changes. So among those changes, the first change will be that when these many powerful nuclear bombs will be triggered at a time, because if one country starts, no country will wait. Mass world war will happen. During that period, our tremendous heat will be produced in that situation. So what will happen? Because you see, if one nuclear bomb falls anywhere, so in a very deep and in very large area, the tremendous heat will be in such a way that minimum 1 million Celsius degree temperature will be rise. And on our earth, no hard metal is there that can tolerate more than 3000 degrees Celsius temperature. So by these many powerful bombs at a time, tremendous heat will be produced on our earth, and all the land of all 7 continents will turn into ash. It means all the soil will become soft. When it turns into ash, means the soil becomes soft. When all the soil becomes soft, then the gravitational pulling force of our earth will pull all the lands, all the soils inside. It means land of all continents will rush toward the core, and it will form one piece of huge land inside. It means all the countries existing now at present will be drawn into the water. But the miracles I was talking about, it will happen that the land of Bharat will never be drawn into the water. Why? It has 2 reasons. First reason is that on the land of Bharat, Supreme Soul, incorporeal God Father descends on Bharat, who is infinity positive energy, and by his descendants, the land of Bharat starts becoming recharged by the positive energy of Supreme Soul. If any other country wish to attack on Bharat with the nuclear bomb, the positive energy of Supreme Soul will stop their negative thought, and that country will find any other reason to postpone their attacking program on Bharat. And before final attacking on Bharat, either any third country will attack on them, or any natural calamities will come, so that the existence of that country will finish. It means by the power of positive energy of Supreme Soul, the land of Bharat becomes safe. And this is the law of universe, that everything is cyclic here. If we create any type of thoughts, whether it is positive or negative, it comes back to us because it is cyclic. Bharat never makes any plan to attack any other country itself. If any other country wish to attack, so they have to face their own problem. Okay, Supreme Soul God Father has protected this land by his positive energy. But apart from land of Bharat, in the whole world, the tremendous atomic war will happen. During that situation, the global climate will change rapidly, and due to that, the natural calamities will come frequently, and it's with high intensity. For an example, nowadays, if any earthquake comes anywhere, so it never comes more than 8.9 Richter scale. But at that situation, that period, earthquake will come from 10 to 20 Richter scales. And simultaneously, inside our earth, so many volcanoes are developing in many places inside. So hundreds and hundreds volcanoes are developing. So at that situation, these hundreds and hundreds volcanoes will get blast at a time inside the sea. So you can imagine, so heat produced by hundreds and hundreds volcanoes inside from the sea, and thousands and thousands nuclear bombs. So from both the sides, this much tremendous heat, all the big ice clusters, whether it is inside the sea or outside, it will melt immediately and the sea level will rise. So second reason is, let the sea level rise in its own level. Even then, the land of Bharat will never be destroyed completely, because the situation, geographical situation of Bharat is such that it is very high from the mean sea level. Of course, the coastal area around India will definitely be drawn by the rise of sea level, but due to the huge earthquake, some new lands will also be emerged, and due to those lands, the map of Bharat will be much bigger than now. And in that map, the neighbor countries which is still remaining in that situation, those countries also will be merged in Bharat. Of course, it will be called as Bharat only. It means when North Pole enters in this positive cycle, so in that period of golden age, in the whole world, Bharat will be only the whole world. No other country will remain except Bharat. Other change will be that, except Bharat, all the lands have gone inside and it has formed one piece of huge land. So that land will be distributed equally with the reference to the equator of our earth. Why it will be that? Because in that situation, a land of Bharat is remaining, and on the land of Bharat, some pure souls are also surviving, because that purity has the power to control all the elements. To understand that, the very good example is that if you have heard that the research experiment of Dr. Masaru Emoto of Japan, what he did, he took a pot of water and he started feeding negative vibrations to that water. He found the result that the molecule structure of water has become destroyed. And again, when he started feeding positive vibrations to that water, he found the result that the molecule structure of that water has become very beautiful. So this experiment has proved that our nature receives our vibration and sets accordingly. So according to this principle, by receiving those pure vibrations of those pure souls, our nature, our earth and water, it sets itself in equilibrium in its original stage. So with the reference to the equator, so equal land and equal water on the both hemisphere, it is distributed equally. So when it is equally distributed, immediately our earth becomes balanced. When our earth becomes balanced, so immediately axis of the earth, which is now tilted 23.5 degrees now, immediately it turns back to 0 degree state position because it is balanced. So when our earth gets balanced, immediately the next change will be that the center point of gravity of our earth becomes constant, stable, and that situation it will become stable. The center point of gravity of sun is already stable before. So when both the center point of gravity becomes stable, so that that time the distance between sun and earth also becomes stable, constant. It means in the positive cycle, our earth maintains equal distance throughout the year. So that is why the heat and light falls on our earth in equal amount. So that is why in this positive cycle, in this golden and silver age, always there will be spring season. And the other change will be that when earth becomes straight 0 degree, on the both pole no water, no ice cluster and no land will be there, only water will be there. The next change will be that when earth becomes straight on the both pole, nowadays we observe that the 6-month day and 6-month night usually it happens. That question will finish here in the positive cycle because earth is straight. So in here in the positive cycle, no Tropic of Capricorn, no Tropic of Cancer becomes there. Other change will be that throughout the year equal day and equal night will be there because earth is straight. And other great change will be there that when earth becomes straight, the rotation of moon around the earth will be set in such a way that in the golden age every night there will be full moon. Why? Because in this period souls are 16 celestial degree pure. So the nature is also 16 celestial degree beneficial, comfortable, it gives happiness. So in this period, in this positive cycle, no new moon and no eclipses. And the scientific reason of that is when all the lands have gone inside and formed one piece of huge land, immediately the gravitational pulling force of our earth becomes less. Comparative to that, at present nowadays the gravitational pulling force of our earth is maximum now at present. To understand that, the very good example is the Bermuda Triangle. In Central America near Miami on the sea there is a triangle which is called Bermuda Triangle. Anything gross element, it vanishes. And even scientists also cannot know that where it has gone. And the research people who went there to search, they also didn't come back. So why it has happened? Because that area is the maximum gravitational pulling zone. Why it is there? You see, the center point of our earth and the surface area of Bermuda Triangle, in between in the radius there, and the deepest nearest to the center point, only water and water of sea is there. No land, no ice, no oil, no gas, no swamp, nothing is there. Only water is what is there. That is why in the absence of solid piece, when anything solid gross things crosses over there, earth pulls inside. So in the comparative to at present time, in the golden age, when all the land will form one piece of huge land, immediately the gravitational force becomes less. When gravitational force becomes less, immediately the moon keeps some more distance with a jerk, because the attraction becomes less. So with that jerk, the moon turns a little bit in such a way that the plane area of moon is only visible there, and that is why more light emits. Moon emits more light there. So two things: one, the gravitational pulling force becomes less, and other, the distance of moon becomes more. So by these two reasons, the speed of rotation of moon around the earth becomes such a slow that as good as it has become stopped in the full moon position. It doesn't stop exactly, but the motion is such a slow that it is as good as to stop. That is why every night in the golden age always there will be full moon. So this is the world of happiness. So when the same North Pole completes the positive cycle and enters in the negative cycle after 2500 years here, so again there will be negative change. How that will happen? We saw before that in the first phase of golden age, all the lands are one piece inside. So right from that period, in the center point of our earth, the heat and gas starts developing, and gradually is the pressure of heat and gas becomes very, very tremendous when it reaches at the end of silver age. But that pressure of gas and heat cannot come out from inside. Why? Because the outside of that land inside, it is very thick and strong, so it resists that pressure to come out. But when North Pole enters in this negative cycle, immediately negativity enters in the soul. So by that negative vibrations of soul, that pure nature cannot tolerate those negative vibrations. For an example, if you take a pitcher of nectar, if a single drop of poison is dropped on that pitcher, whole nectar is spoiled, it is turned into the poison. If we take a full pot of milk, when a single drop of lemon is dropped, the whole milk is spoiled. Similarly, with the little percentage of negativity, the pure nature of this positive cycle cannot tolerate that. Great upheavals happens there, and due to that, very first and very big earthquake happens here, and due to that earthquake, the cracks started coming on the earth. Through that cracks, the pressure of heat and gas finds the way to come out, and the pressure of gas comes out in such a tremendous pressure that it gets blast. The whole that land gets blast, and by that internal explosion, the same one piece of huge land, it turns into many pieces and comes on the surface of sea. 7 continents again starts forming. In parallel, the pressure of heat comes out in the form of volcanoes, and due to those volcanoes, many mountains starts forming, like Himalaya, Aravalli, Vindhyachal, etc. Even nowadays, now also if you observe our earth, you will be able to find that our most of the countries existing on our earth towards the North Pole, that is the above the equator, and many mountains are also existing above the equator towards the North Pole. It means due to that internal explosion at the end of Silver Age, the maximum lands are pushed towards the North Pole, and North Pole becomes heavy, and when North Pole becomes heavy, then our earth becomes imbalanced. When our earth becomes imbalanced, immediately the axis of our earth, which was straight before in the positive cycle, immediately it tilts 23.5 degree at a jerk here. When our axis tilts 23.5 degree, immediately the center point of gravity of our earth becomes disturbed. The original center point of gravity becomes disturbed, because instead of one piece of huge land, it becomes into many pieces. So when center point of gravity becomes disturbed, immediately the distance between sun and earth starts varying. It means the orbit, which was full round circular in the positive cycle, starts become elliptical here in the first phase of Copper Age in the negative cycle. So when orbit becomes elliptical, immediately the different season starts. So from here till the end of Iron Age, throughout the negative cycle, we find many earthquakes and volcanoes here, because this is negative cycle. When after completing this negative cycle, when North Pole again it enters in this positive cycle, so again here the world order become reset, it resets. We found that here, due to that internal explosion, the lands have scattered. So during that resetting period, those scattered land, again it has to become unite. But how it will happen? Nowadays our scientists have invented nitrogen bomb, hydrogen bomb, atom bomb, nuclear bombs, etc., etc. You know, these bombs are not in one and two pieces. It's in many with many countries, more than sufficient. So just you can imagine, when again North Pole will enter in this positive cycle, just before that again atomic war will happen, and due to that world war, again the scattered land again will come together and form one piece of huge land, and again our earth will become balanced and become straight, and again the golden age, the positive cycle will start. Thus the historical events, geographical events and the astronomical events repeats identically in every 5,000 years.